Economic crises. All over the world, people are becoming more aware of their spending habits. And in some instances, people are having to make some very tough decisions. Will they eat or keep electricity on? Will they pay their mortgage or purchase their needed medications? Are they able to preserve their retirement fund or 401k and other things that they've worked a lifetime to build? People think about all options when things get really tough. It's just part of survival. I think a lot of people understand hardship or just an anxiety of maintaining a certain lifestyle that we become accustomed to, especially within the past few years. And even if we aren't clipping coupons or counting pennies, we are still aware and we are, at least in some ways, preparing for economic change. It's normal to worry about basic survival when one's financial ability to survive is basically taken. But some specimens don't seem to worry. Some perhaps aren't even aware of the reality that money's not a guarantee, much less that a struggle could entice. Or does she know? Is this an issue with entitlement, cognitive bias, or denial? Maybe it's a little bit of each. This video is about Amber Reid and how she seems oblivious to struggle and fearless in the face of unemployment despite claiming to not have any savings. She was paid, and even assuming that she was paid well, those LCU earnings would have been eaten up weeks ago. Amber eats $1,000 a week, and I think my estimation of that number is conservative. She has admitted to ordering up to 6 times a day, even if it's just for a soda. And if the cheapest order was a soda for $15 with a tip, and the more expensive meals are $40 and up delivered, then the median is a conservative $27.50 per delivery, or $770 a week, and that's before the high dollar tips that she claims to leave. So how is it that Amber can afford upwards of $1,000 a week just in junk food delivered? All of her bills and necessary living expenses excluded. But she does not have a job nor a savings. And even more, why isn't she concerned at all about her ability to survive this month or next? For most people, if we lose our jobs, then we need to replace that income or cut back on our expenses. And that's if we're a 2-income household. If we are the only ones earning money, then we don't have a choice. We must replace those lost earnings. So how is Amber surviving? And again, why isn't she frantic with worry over how she's going to keep her utilities on? Let's recap, because this all plays a hand in this discussion. We know that Amber grew up impoverished during her time with her parents, because they chose to spend any money that they had, really, on extracurricular substances. We know that Amber spent time with fosters and in group homes, and during those times, she was provided for. Amber did not go without. She has spoken about food and trips, plane rides, doctor's visits, counselors, therapists, clothing, and all other things that she needed at that time being provided for. In fact, when she got out of foster care and found out that her grandmother and mother did not want her back home, Amber was immediately taken in by her partner Casey and his mother. During that time with Casey, not only were Amber's necessary needs being met, but other women like Julia and Crystal were buying lavish gifts for Amber. When she left Casey's home, Crystal's parents were there for Amber to sponge off of immediately. After that relationship ended, an entitled Amber would do a lot of nothing while her partner Destiny would work, and although I am not a fan of Destiny's, fact is still fact. Destiny would work full-time and she would take on the financial responsibility in the beginning, even when Amber sat around on her behind all day. Next would be Beck and their friends, who made sure that Amber would have a nice home during her relationship with them. And Jade seemed to pay most of the necessary bills while Amber spent absurd amounts of money on fast food, paid for her weight loss scheme that saw her trolling a doctor in Georgia, and Amber, of course, would buy plenty of clothing items, perfume, bags, and an occasional pair of Jordans. She has always wasted her money, and in her own words, she did not save because she made enough each check to have more than she actually needed to survive on. The once poor young girl had conned her way into privilege, greed, and entitlement. So, is that why she's not worried about her current financial situation, her bills that are due, or how she's going to make ends meet? Is she so entitled due to her past that she just anticipates someone else stepping in and saving her, paying her bills? Maybe a fat admirer will send her a few $1,000s. Maybe she'll turn to sex work. And let me be very open about it. I don't shame sex workers in any way. I don't look down on them. So if Amber did turn to that type of work, I don't think most of us would gasp or clutch our pearls. I mean, she's already soft launched the idea. She told us that her arm photos would fetch $50 each. She's told us that she's good at moaning, and Mike could get paid to do that over the phone. She's even told us that when the cookie video that she had made for her married girlfriend at the time got leaked, that she wasn't embarrassed about the video itself because she thought she looked good. She told us that she could have released the video on her own and made a lot of money if she wanted to. So Amber has made it very clear that she is open to the idea of working within that sector. But based on her recent leaked discords, the only money that she has made is a little bit from the TikTok live that she did and Cameo money. If we look at her Cameo earnings or even at the cost per Cameo and the number that she has booked, I don't think she's making enough to support her eating habits and pay her necessary bills, much less her shopping addiction. So where is her concern? Where is the fear and panic? The general worry? What about even a contingency plan? Many have suggested to Amber to go on and get a job so that she can pay her bills, but her lazy personality would simply not be tolerated at any place of employment. It's funny to me, too, because, it wasn't too long ago that she tried talking down to those who, quote unquote, flip burgers, and how they'd not do that for free, so she's not going to do anything for free either. And that really irritated a lot of people because I think she was making a mockery out of restaurant work, which is really challenging, as anyone who's ever worked in that field or even been to an eatery should know. But Amber basically made it clear that normal jobs were beneath her, and she expects top dollar for zero work ethic, zero experience, zero job performance, and she expects to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year off of YouTube or some other social media platform. The entitlement in that is showing how out of touch with reality she actually is. And I've wondered if that too could be part of her lack of urgency in finding a job. If maybe she's so out of touch with reality that she just doesn't have the awareness to grasp her immediate needs, but thinks that she's going to be okay so long as Emily or anyone really is gifting her DoorDash orders every couple of hours. And I think that's where Amber's mind could be right now. It would first and foremost be on her ability to continue getting her choice, which, as we all know, is fast food, because she is still very obviously an active addiction. Worry or concern over her bills would only come into play if she didn't have a backup, didn't plan on getting a backup, or thought that she had no means of getting the money she needed. And so let's talk briefly about what I think could be going on. These are just options of ways that Amber could be relying on or considering so that she can get through this tough time of unemployment. She might have savings that she's lied about. And I've got mixed feelings about this one because Amber has lied and schemed so much, not only over the years past, but even recently when she lost her YouTube the first time. She cried and said that you could give her a penny if you wanted to, and She said that her savings was only for her taxes and that she never actually saved any money to live on because she made so much each month from her YouTube checks that she knew she would always have plenty of funds. However, she also said that she was broke, and she gave her private Cash App or Venmo information, just those types of financial institutions. She gave that information and she plugged an ad here and there for her cameos that she said she would start doing again. Now, a cameo does seem to be something she's historically fallen back on when she's needed fast cash. She's claimed that she has such a high demand all year long for those cameos. But I don't believe her, because if that were true, here are just two quick facts. She would be a laughing stock for not offering cameos year round, since they only take about a minute or so to do, and they're in such high demand and fetch such a large amount of money. And number two, second fact, she's just lying. Because if people were beating down her door for a cameo, like what she wants us to believe, then there would be no need to slash prices in half and then still struggle to get booked. And I'm not counting the cameos that her girlfriend has bought from her either. I think in part, Amber doesn't worry about money because she feels powerful. Amber feels very, very powerful. Her ego is inflated, and rightfully so. I mean, let's just look at this. She did nothing for a decade and made more money than some people with advanced degrees. Amber has told us that she's made well over $1 million just from YouTube, and that she has made so much every month, she doesn't even have to think about having a savings. It wasn't necessary, because any emergency that could possibly arise would easily be covered along with her bills when she received the next check. I think this not only inflated Amber's ego, but it made her feel extremely powerful, and she may have even felt untouchable. She has bragged enough about money, telling her viewers once in a live stream that she could pay everyone's utility bills, and then she smugly cackled like a witch about it. Amber got very, very accustomed to bringing in far more than even she thought she required to live off of. But her not saving an emergency fund strictly for risk management alone, if nothing else, that 3-month cushion just in case. And that just tells me that entitlement kicked in between her ego and her overcalculated self-importance, she thought she would always have more money than she needed. I think another reason she doesn't show signs of financial worry or panic right now is that the initial shock of it has worn off. She's had a few months to grapple with the reality that YouTube told her that her content was not viewable. It broke their terms of service. And we had told her this for years, that her vlogs were boring, infuriating, and that many were promoting things that simply were not allowed to be promoted on YouTube. And she flipped us off, literally at times. But then, you see, YouTube stepped in and told Amber, actually, your haters are correct. Your videos are really bad and they're not allowed, and so we are taking your monetization. And that was a hard blow to Amber's ego, and a shock to her, I'm sure. She tried to deny fault by saying that it was due to everyone else, not her. It was due to the haters' mass reporting. But the videos that were mass reported were harmful videos. Videos where she was either bullying, exploiting, conning, or mistreating others on camera. And those things have never been allowed. Never. Amber wants to be viewed as an influencer, but she doesn't want to be held to a higher standard that influencers are held to. She doesn't want to be partly responsible for the outcomes of what she influences. She wanted to showcase and promote a lifestyle that was seriously dangerous, and she wanted YouTube to pay her hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to do it. But she didn't want to face any consequences, being told that she was promoting something bad and you cannot do it on our platform. The denial has worn off by now, though, and as Amber faced her second demonetization again, with no savings, according to Amber, I believe that she has in part realized that her easy run on YouTube is at least at a halt, and I think she's scrambling to occupy her time as she waits for remonetization. Part of the reason that she's not in a current panic is because she anticipates being remonetized any day. She's told us that she disputed the most recent demonetization, and I think that she expects and anticipates that YouTube is just going to give her her job back any day. I bet that she checks her emails multiple times a day, anticipating a letter from YouTube saying that she's back in. I think Amber spent way too many years having YouTube money thrown at her for doing nothing more than promoting unhealthy choices and the mistreatment of others. And I think that her inflated ego made her truly feel extremely important, powerful, and untouchable. The cognitive bias has told her that it's not her fault, it's everyone else's fault, that she is responsible for all the good that comes her way, but any of the bad is just because of the haters. When her job was touched, I do think that she was initially in shock, but then that denial kicked in and she started living as if there was nothing to be too concerned about because she truly anticipates being remonetized because in her mind, it's not only owed to her, it is her right. I believe she does have a bit of money put back as well. I think that she's begging everyone to buy her DoorDash so that the little bit of funds that she's got saved can go toward keeping her utilities on and paying rent. And then her girlfriend or her followers gift her fast food because that's exactly what her heart, liver, blood pressure, and lymphedema really needs right now. So they do obviously care very much for her. I think she dabbles every day with the idea of making quick, easy, and effortless money to maintain her lifestyle, doing the things described earlier, because that's what she's used to being able to do. Zero effort meets six figures. While most of us take these things very seriously, we take survival seriously. Amber does look at it differently because she's never had to work for anything her entire life. Once responsible adults actually intervened and started trying to help Amber, she has had everything handed to her for nothing. She even said on Bus a few months ago that even on YouTube, when she did not upload a thing, did not do a live stream, absolutely nothing, she still brought in over $10,000 a month. And that's why she acts very differently from us if we were to lose our jobs. It's because we understand hard work, struggle, hardship, responsibilities, and we're strong. We will work hard and we will fight to live as we want to live. But she's a different specimen. She's extremely weak. She's one of the ones that if there ever was a total collapse in the economy where people really did have to get up and fight to survive, she would unfortunately be one of the first ones gone, out of the game because she just doesn't have it in her. She sits alone each day, eating her way through the hours, fighting with people in discords, and doing absolutely nothing to save herself. Because again, her overinflated ego and ideas of self-importance tells her that others should and will provide for her, or YouTube will realize its massive mistake and hire her back any day. And that's all she's waiting on. If you're new, I'm Birdie, and I thank you for watching. If you need to reach me, just send me an email. I'll be around. No matter where today may find you, remember to dream big, but also remember that you're actually worth everything you dream of. And I know that one day you're going to have it all. Just don't give up. Be safe and know you're loved. I'll see you right here next time. Bye for now.